Okay. Well, as you can see, I got a sticky note up with my YouTube address, my email. If you have any questions, comments, or topics that you would like to know about. But I'm going to open Visual Basic. And we're going to open a new project. We're going to name it Lesson 01. And again, we're going to make it Visual Basic, a Windows form application. And right now, I'm going to hit OK. Alright, so it's going to open up my Lesson 01. Now, today I said we were going to be making our first program. Now, to do this, we're going to be writing some very simple code, which it's what I call linking code. It's just going to link pieces of the form together. Now, it's going to be very simple. We're just going to tell it to open up a box that will say Hello World when you click the button. Okay? Now, but first, we're going to just make one that just has, it's just going to say, in a label, Hello World. So, now I told you we were going to talk a little bit about the properties window. Now, I just resized a little bit. Now, is what you can do to get to the properties window over here is you can either click on here and pick like label 1, which we have right here. And now the two you're going to need are name, which is at the top. It's all alphabetically ordered. You can change the font and everything. We'll mess with that a little bit later. Now, we can also change the icon of our thing and everything, but we're not going to do that right now. We can do it later, and I just wanted to make sure you knew. But we're going to change text to Hello World, because that's what our label is going to say. And as you can see, it comes up right there. It didn't work in my last video, so now I'm going to type this in. Now we're going to write Hello World. I'm going to just get a drink of water here. Okay, so it says Hello World. Now we're going to start debugging. I'm going to just use the F5 key on the keyboard. That's another option. And we got it open. It's got everything, y'all. Resizes and everything. Perfect. Now I'm just going to open Visual Basic back up. And we're going to find what happened to that window, because you have to close it before you can start programming again and making changes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that by hitting the delete key on the keyboard. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make it so when you press the button, when you click the button, which I'm going to make right now, which we're going to name Go On button. I'm going to make it big, and just do that by dragging. It'll make it a little bit easier to use. Now we're going to make the text Go On. Spelled that wrong. Go on, enter, and it changes. Now, to automatically write that little bit of code, you just double click on the button. Now it's automatically going to default to click. Alright, so that's what we're going to do right now is we're going to write what we want. When that click happens, what we want it to do. Now I'm going to go more in depth with code in one of our next lessons. But right now, I'm just going to show how to do this. So, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to tell you to stop and do just what I did here. I want you to, let me get Word open so I can show you how. All I want you to do is get your button, resize the button, and I'm going to make this new list in a second. Rename the form and double click the button before we write any code. So, step 1. Rename form. And And this is assuming you already have everything open. Now, if you didn't watch my introduction video, you might want to do that before we start doing this. It'll show you all the tools. Now, when I got the button, it was from the toolbox. I just dragged it. Should have told you that when I was doing it. And then we're going to have you drag button onto form. And then is what I want you to do is rename the button. And then resize the button. Looks like I've forgotten E in there. Just going to put that E in. Alright, so this is what I want you to do. And right now will be a good time to pause the video. And I'm going to take 4 seconds before and stop talking so you can pause it. And then I'm going to start back up. Okay, well, assuming that you have all that done and you're ready to come along again, we already clicked it and we got this. We double clicked it. So, is what we're going to do is we're going to write the code, which I will put in that Word document in a minute. Now, you can't see my taskbar, but it's underneath there. I just didn't put it in my hypercam. But we're going to write message box because we want a message box. And now, this thing that comes up, this is IntelliSense. You can just hit the up and down arrow keys, and then when you get what you want, you can just hit enter or space bar or something. And now we're going to use a little dot, show. It puts all the possible little things there, and when you start typing, it does it. Now we're going to use the quotes to show that it's what it's going to say. And now we're going to write hello world. Now you have to close the quotes. Now we're going to hit enter. Now we're going to go back to our design. We have no errors. So we're just going to click run. Now when we hit the go on button, we get a text box. This is go on. And when we hit the go on, we get our message box that says hello world. And that concludes this lesson. I hope you watch my next lesson. There is my information. I'm just going to get rid of that. And I hope you watch my next lesson.